Welcome back, everybody. Derrick Soo, your East Oakland advocate. Well, I've been asked about the the off-grid solar system for the micro homes, and they're asking. People have been asking, well, how big of a battery is it? What's the system consist? So here's some. Uh, More information for you in terms of that electrical system for the homes that we're providing. And these are all off-grid systems. And this is where some of my older expertise comes into play, because when I was working in counterterrorism, one of my early assignments was working on the satellite program with Lockheed. And so my portion of the satellite was energy and solar. And so I have a high level of expertise in this system, but we're also trying to balance that with cost and expense. And so what I put into the micro homes and each of the micro communities is number one, this is a basic system to start with, and it's expandable. So that's the great thing. And we're starting with a basic 100 amp solar system with 8 kilowatts of bifacial 400-watt solar panels. And so we're looking at 16 solar panels on the roof. And then also there's the option later on of adding a horizontal wind turbine. And the wind turbine, because of certain areas, these are going to be more advantageous than a solar panel, because wind is constant. Wind blows 24/7 here in Oakland in certain areas. And even when it does lighten up to below 5 miles an hour, because that's the threshold of most of the wind. It's between 2 to 5 miles per hour of wind speed. And then that's able to generate up to 20,000 volts. 20,000 volts. And these are designed for buildings, and these are designed so that maybe one, maybe two are needed in a commercial setting to power the entire business. And so if we take those same things, maybe just add one to the home, that would be substantial and would limit a lot of the electrical issues, because in these micro homes, there's an education period, also a learning curve with this, because people are trained to have unlimited electrical power available. And in an off-grid solar system, that's not possible. You have limits on how much electricity and the amount of time that you have based upon that. So there's going to be an education period for these folks also, but there's also a screen inside their home to let them see the condition of their batteries, what is coming in from solar and wind, and what is being stored and what is being used. So the summary board will be an important factor in the micro homes. But we have, let's see, because I plan things out. The base system is, the budget for that is $10,000. $10,000, and we need to produce a 100 amp service. And people are saying, well, that seems kind of low. Well, not if you're comparing it to an apartment. If you look at an apartment, a lot of apartments are these days 100 amp service. And so you're not really out of line on anything. The stoves ranges in the homes, that the ranges that will be coming with the homes, these are all the new modern, highly energy efficient induction cooktops cooking ranges. And then on inside the ovens, those are also very energy efficient. And the reason why you have to have energy efficient, because you have to be very efficient with the energy that you do have in the batteries. And that brings us up to the topic of the batteries. And so people can say, well, how many batteries? What kind of batteries? Well, what we're doing, we're installing a system that is expandable and will serve the needs of the homeowner. And if the needs exceed what is currently available, the system can be expanded by adding more batteries, another inverter, and more solar panels to the roof. So it is completely expandable. Again, like I said, the budget on that was $10,000. And what we're able to do, we put a 100 amp service in there. There will be three inverters, converters, and the inverters have the conversion unit, the MPPTs, which converts the solar energy into electrical storage energy that is taken in by the inverter or stored in the battery. The inverter takes the lower voltage, bumps it to full sine wave. Full sine wave. This is not those cheap inverters that are modified wave. Modified waves will damage and destroy the electronics in the home, especially the server board where you get all your information, because there's the clipping on modified waves that damage very sensitive electronic equipment. And so you can't put a cheap inverter in there. You have to go with really good inverters. Each of the inverters run between $800 to $900, and we're going to use three of them to start with. And that gives you actually a little bit of a 20% cushion, because the system will actually produce about 120 amps of 120 volt household. Actually, it's a 115 to 120 volt AC in pure sine wave. So there's a lot there. And then on top of the batteries are the new lithium ion phosphate batteries. That's what we're basing all of the storage upon. The size of the battery is 8D. So it's a big battery, and we're going to have them on racks. And those racks, there will be 6 of those batteries. Each of those batteries is between $1,000 to $1,300 each. So a majority of the budget will be absorbed by the batteries and the inverters, and then also the solar panels. They're not cheap either. But the good thing about solar panels is that the prices come way down compared to where they used to be, even just a couple of years ago. And now we have bifacials, and there's an advantage using bifacials versus the single face solar panels. And so you even get electricity being generated in semi-dark situations with bifacials. So that's why we're using the bifacials. The accessories, the appliances inside the home, like I said, highly energy efficient. We're using induction range. There is also a highly efficient washer dryer combo in each of the units. And then we have we don't have a single water heater. We have zone hot water heaters, and those zone hot water heaters are in the bathroom, kitchen, and those are the areas that they're predominantly needed. There may also be one with the washer dryer if it's in a separate area, but it should operate off of the kitchen uh, zone hot water heater. And these are all electric again. We're not using any gas, so we're not adding to carbon emissions. All the interior lights in these homes, they have built-in um, LED lighting, and they're dimmable so that you can dim and raise and lower the amount of light in each room, kind of like back in the 50s. Homes had lights and light switches in every room. So when you entered a room, flipped on a light. But with the new LED lights, much more efficient, and it doesn't use the large amount of electricity and amperage like the old bulbs. Then also the plumbing. The plumbing can be installed in the home in a day or less because we're using PEX, plastic tubing, for all of the water lines that are hidden in the walls and underneath the floors if there's anything. But most of the PEX tubing will be installed, and this is the type of tubing that's used in homes on the East Coast, Midwest, and they don't freeze. They don't. There's very little expansion, and they're easily color coded and much easier to run. You don't need any special skills. All you have is a trimmer for the plastic, and then you just slightly just push them in until it locks in. It's that simple, and it takes only one person, maybe two people, to do an entire home in one day. Versus doing copper, it can take up to a week to pipe and plumb an entire home. So we're talking a lot of labor savings here. That's the main thing about these micro homes, that they are labor saving, and so they're much cheaper to put together. The then also on that, the insulation. These homes are very well insulated, and the insulation minimum is R25. Here in the Bay Area, R19 is the standard. So this is a much more energy efficient home. And then you can make it even more energy efficient by adding rock wool. Rock wool is a mineral based insulation. It's non-flammable, and that's the whole thing about the new micro homes. We need to make them as fire resistant as possible. Fire resistant outside on the exterior and fire resistant on the inside, so that if there's an interior fire, the fire is mostly contained just to that one building, and it is contained in there. The next thing that I want to mention is that interior space, the absolute minimum interior space for a micro home, and this applies to a single occupant. This is if you're single, you would be starting out with a 400 square foot home. It's 400 square foot interior volume. So it's a small apartment. It would be like a studio apartment. 400 square feet, it is significant. As most of my my shelters on the street were 300, and then my biggest one was 350 square feet, and it was more than sufficient for my needs and for a single person, even with a pet. And then the volume can go up. The standard for a family, at least a couple, would be 400 square feet, but they also have the option of 600 square feet of interior volume, so a slightly larger arch cabin. And the size of the cabin for the 600 square feet is 20 feet by 32 feet. That gives you 640 square feet of interior volume, and it can be doubled by because the building is a section or engineered for 2 levels. You can double that space by building a second floor inside of this unit. And you can do that because the overall height of the building from floor level to peak is 17 feet 3 inches of height. And each of those units, right now, depending on how many units we purchase, the current cost is $17,312 for the 640 square foot arch cabin. And again, like I said, we can double that. So that is a very significant savings in terms of the overall building. Construction is very easy. You don't need a 35 person construction crew. All you need is 5 people. That's it. 5 people, some ladders, and some basic skills. You'll need a cordless drill, cordless impact, some scissors, levels, things like that. Some real basic carpentry tools. You won't need a hammer. If you do, it's only going to be a dead blow hammer to knock things in place, and that's it. And then the rest are self-tapping screws, which go through the sheet metal exterior and into the metal frame. The metal frames are already prefabbed, so simply getting them upright into their skeletal frames. Once a skeletal frame is on, then the first layer of the exterior, the insulation goes on, then the first full sheet of the building siding, which it would be 32 and 20 feet long. So you would install those. And like I said, they're not heavy. And then 4 or 5 people can put this together. In fact, as few as 3 people can assemble an entire arch cabin home. And the 400 square foot model is a significant savings over the 600 square foot at $10,820. That's the current price, but when we buy them in volume and the shipping, that number should drop significantly. We can probably get another 10-20% off and have it shipped from Texas to California and still come up under those numbers. And then the countertops aren't real fancy. They're the Formica countertops, which are pretty basic. But again, each resident can invest money on their own and upgrade. Everything is upgradable and dependent upon the person's financial situation. And then there are going to be programs to assist people with some of these expansions because not everybody has the funds to do it. But every one of the homes, what's unique about each of the arch cabins is that the interior is modifiable, meaning that the walls can be moved, removed, and then reset, so that rooms can be created in a matter of a day rather than weeks with typical construction. Kitchens will be pretty much modular systems. It's almost like a plug and play. So the homes typically should top out at about $85,000 each. That is my estimate, and that is with labor. So these homes are very affordable and extremely durable. These are considered 50-year homes, and that's a long time for a program to help our struggling communities, the residents here in Oakland. It's important that housing is available in both heritage and sanctuary. Sanctuary housing covers our school teachers, unless they were residents, longtime residents of Oakland, they can also qualify under heritage status. So there's a lot of things with this program that helps people out. There's a lot of great things inside these models, and it's a whole different housing model, but it still contains all the basic needs, fulfills all the basic needs: the refrigerators, the cooktops, washer dryers. We have hot and cold running water, showers. We don't so much have bathtubs. Bathtubs are optional. But for those that actually need it, it can be included inside their micro home under certain conditions. And this would be medically recommended by a doctor for a bathtub to be installed in a home versus a vertical shower. But that pretty much covers everything. One of the nice things about the system is that we can also reuse the batteries that come out of our electric cars. These can be hooked up in a way into the homes to save a lot of money because a new battery pack typically is between $5,000 to $10,000, and most of those battery packs are still very usable, and at 80% service life still available on those battery packs, we can reuse those, recycle those into the homes, and they're still perfectly good for the need. The system, the solar system operates off of a 48 volt, not a 12 volt, not 24 volt, 48 volt system. So that brings high amount of efficiency to the system, because 12 volt is one of the least efficient solar systems, whereas a 48 volt is substantially more efficient and can hold a lot more batteries in storage. We should have, each one of the battery packs is designed so that you have at least 30 hours of use of electricity before recharging is needed. That's how I engineer things. Because in the winter, we know that because of less light, you're not going to be making as much electricity. But with bifacial solar panels, you can make electricity even in cloudy days. You could still have nearly 50% efficiency versus 18 to 20% creation of electricity on cloudy days. So big difference. And then also, again, like I said, adding a vertical or a horizontal wind turbine to the rooftop can actually almost remove all of those solar panels. And the solar panels, they're going to last you at least 20, 25 years. A wind turbine, we don't know exactly how long they're going to last yet because they're still being tested, but things are looking very promising. We're looking at least a 10-year life expectancy out of a wind turbine on your roof. So there are a lot of good technologies, a lot of new things coming out that will make creating these low-cost housing units very doable and durable. Thanks for joining me today. We'll be right back.